Mom, Dad, I'm not throwing shade, but the whole New Year's resolution thing, kind of slipping, no offense. Anyway, my best friend Jenny's dad, crushing it. He uses Blue Apron. He says he ordered one-pan assemble and bake meals and these things called meal kits. They're all super easy to make. He keeps yelling, protein and fiber, baby. Also, the food, we tried it. So good. So maybe check it out or whatever. Blue Apron. Get $50 off your first 2 orders plus free shipping with code STIR50. Terms and conditions apply. Visit blueapron.com/terms for more.
When it comes to what your family eats and drinks, you know your choices matter. You're the expert because you know what fits your life. And getting it right starts with good information. That's why America's beverage companies are sharing more information about our ingredients at goodtoknowfacts.org. No spin, no judgments, just the facts straight from the experts for more than 140 beverage ingredients. Visit goodtoknowfacts.org.
All right, we're back. This is WGCK AM 1090, always on, always talking. If you're just joining us or if you've been making better life choices, you missed the tail end of last hour's conversation about whether a person can be legally haunted by a timeshare. For the record, yes, and it's non-refundable. It's just after midnight. I'm Marianne Caldwell. This is The Night Signal. Let's go to the phones. I've got Peter holding line 4. Peter, thanks for waiting.
Marianne, I need to tell someone before it gets worse.
That's usually when people call. What's going on?
My houseplants have formed an organization.
An organization?
A collective. A union. I don't know what to call it, but it's coordinated.
Peter, I'm going to ask you a simple question.
Okay.
If you don't mind me asking, how many houseplants do you have?
27.
That's not a houseplant situation. That's a greenhouse with rent.
They were spread out before. They've moved.
Moved how?
Overnight, they've clustered together like they're holding meetings.
All right. Peter, I say this gently.
Yes?
Plants don't move.
That's what I thought too. But explain why the aloe is always closest to the door.
Maybe it likes the draft.
No. Marianne, it's security.
Your aloe is security?
The cactus is enforcement.
That tracks.
And my ficus.
And let me guess, leadership.
Exactly. It's taller. It casts shade. It's intimidating.
Peter, what do you want from me tonight?
I want to know what they want.
Did you ask them?
I did. And I woke up this morning to dirt on the kitchen counter.
Dirt?
I think it was a message.
Or maybe gravity.
Marianne, I am not being dramatic.
Peter, I believe that you believe that.
Thank you.
Here's my advice. If the plants are unionizing, they'll present demands.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Until then, try watering them and lowering the tension in the home.
You think this is my fault?
I think 27 plants is a cry for help.
Fair.
Thank you for the call, Peter.
If I don't call back...
I'll assume the ficus won. All right, I've got another caller who's been holding. Different story. Hopefully fewer leaves. You're on the Night Signal. Go ahead.
Hi, Marianne. Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome. What's your name?
Rachel.
All right, Rachel, what's going on?
I think my GPS has been lying to me.
That's a strong accusation.
I know, and I wouldn't call if it was just bad directions. This feels intentional.
Okay, start from the beginning.
I commute early, same route, same highway. One morning it started rerouting me. Not around traffic, just away.
Away from what?
From the highway.
And you followed it?
I did. At first because I thought it knew something I didn't. And then because it kept doing it.
All right, Rachel, let's talk about where it took you.
Rachel did not consider herself a superstitious person. She believed in caffeine, routine, and the quiet authority of systems that were designed to work. Her job depended on being on time. Her life depended on not thinking too hard before sunrise. Most mornings, she moved through her routine with the calm efficiency of someone who had decided long ago that panic was a waste of energy. That was why she trusted the GPS. It wasn't emotional trust, it was practical. The GPS knew the roads. The GPS knew the traffic. The GPS had no reason to lie. Rachel placed it on the dashboard each morning, heard its pleasant voice confirm her destination, and followed its instructions the way people follow instructions when they're too tired to argue. For months, the commute was predictable. Neighborhood streets, a quick on-ramp, the highway, then the familiar sequence of exits that brought her into the city like clockwork. Until the Tuesday, it changed its mind. She turned the car on, the GPS lit up, and the route loaded normally. Rachel backed out of the driveway and rolled toward the on-ramp. Then the screen blinked. Rerouting. Rachel frowned. There was no traffic alert, no accident notification, no obvious reason for concern. Still, she let it happen. Technology made decisions faster than people. That was the point of it. Turn right, the GPS said, guiding her away from the on-ramp and toward a two-lane road that ran along the edge of town. Rachel obeyed. She told herself it was a shortcut. She told herself it was saving her time. She told herself as the road narrowed and the street lights thinned out that she could always correct it. But the GPS didn't sound confused. It sounded confident. That was the unsettling part. The next morning it happened again. Same destination, same hour, same confident reroute away from the highway. Rachel tried to override it, tapping the screen the way she always had when she wanted a different route. The GPS paused, as if listening, then it rerouted again. Rachel felt irritation rise, sharp, immediate, irrational. It was an inanimate device. It was not supposed to have preferences. It was not supposed to insist. She took the highway anyway. 10 minutes later, she was stopped dead in traffic behind an accident that hadn't been on the news yet. Rachel arrived at work late, unsettled, and more annoyed than she wanted to admit. She told a coworker about it as a joke, the way you joked about machines developing personalities so you didn't have to admit you were taking them personally. The next morning, when the GPS rerouted her again, she followed it. The detour was slower, but it moved. And at the exact point the highway would have appeared between the trees, at the exact moment she would have merged, she passed a roadside sign that made her slow down without meaning to. It was old, metal, faded, and it read, "Speed limit 35, strictly enforced." Rachel stared at it long enough to miss her turn. The GPS did not scold her, it simply rerouted. By the end of the week, Rachel was leaving 5 minutes earlier, just to accommodate the detour. She didn't tell anyone. It felt too strange to describe out loud. Not frightening, exactly, just specific. The GPS had selected this route with the certainty of a person who remembered something Rachel didn't. The road ran past a stretch of woods and then opened into a small commercial strip that Rachel was nearly certain hadn't existed before. A diner. A gas station with an older style of signage. A hardware store with its name painted directly onto the brick. Everything looked slightly out of time, like a place that had been maintained carefully but not updated. Rachel told herself she was overthinking it. Then she saw the billboard. It was small, hand-painted, and nailed to a wooden post. "Welcome back. We've been expecting you." Rachel drove past it without stopping. She did not look in the rearview mirror. Rachel didn't understand what the GPS was taking her toward until she understood what it was taking her away from. The highway segment it avoided was unremarkable in daylight. 6 lanes, concrete barriers, the usual sprawl of exits and overpasses. Rachel drove it on weekends without incident. There was nothing visibly wrong with it. No warnings, no construction signs, no memorials on the shoulder. But every weekday morning, without exception, the GPS routed her around a 3-mile stretch just past the river. Rachel noticed this on a Friday when she finally pulled over and zoomed out on the map. The avoided section was highlighted faintly, as if it had been selected and then dismissed. No traffic indicators, no alerts, just absence. She tried to force the route again. The GPS recalculated. She tried a different highway entrance. The GPS recalculated faster. Rachel turned the device off entirely and drove by memory. The road felt wrong almost immediately. Not dangerous, not damaged, just uncooperative. The traffic was light, but no one seemed to merge smoothly. Speeds fluctuated for no reason. The semi drifted into her lane and corrected itself without signaling. Rachel's hands tightened on the steering wheel. She passed the river. The moment she crossed it, her phone vibrated. The GPS had turned itself back on. "Rerouting," it said calmly. Rachel took the next exit without thinking. Later that morning, she checked the news. There had been an accident on the avoided stretch. Multi-car, early, before sunrise. Rachel stared at the screen longer than necessary, then locked her phone and went back to work. Over the next few weeks, Rachel experimented. She changed departure times. She adjusted routes manually. She tried different navigation apps. Every system but one behaved normally. Only her GPS insisted. If she left earlier, the detour lengthened. If she left later, it shortened. If she ignored it entirely, she encountered delays she couldn't explain. Once she followed the highway anyway and found herself stopped behind flashing lights, traffic funneling into a single lane for no visible reason. Another time, a section of road was closed temporarily, though she never saw it reopened. Rachel stopped fighting. She followed the detour the way one follows a doctor's instructions after deciding not to Google symptoms anymore. The small roadside businesses became familiar. The diner opened at 5 sharp. The gas station attendant nodded every morning without surprise. The hardware store never seemed to have customers but always had its lights on. One morning, Rachel pulled into the gas station on impulse. The attendant looked up from the register.
Mom, I saw Dylan's dad make dinner. Like, actually cook, and it was straight fire. He said it was Blue Apron Assemble and Bake. All the ingredients showed up pre-chopped, and he just laid it out on a baking sheet and no cap. Dinner was on the table in like 25 minutes. Apparently, it's chef designed, and it has like over 40 grams of protein. That's a lot, right? So maybe we try it. Just saying. You can be the next Dylan's dad. Blue Apron. Get $50 off your first 2 orders plus free shipping with code STIR50. Terms and conditions apply. Visit blueapron.com/terms for more.
Last year, Instagram launched teen accounts, which default all teens into automatic protections for who can contact them and the content they can see. And we'll continue adding new safeguards for teens to help give parents peace of mind. Explore teen accounts' automatic protections and all of our ongoing work at instagram.com/teenaccounts.
"Running early today," he said. Rachel blinked. Do you know me?" He smiled politely. "You come through most mornings." "I've never stopped before." He considered this. Still counts." She paid, left, and did not ask what he meant. The billboard changed the next week. The message was shorter now. "Still working? Good." Rachel did not take a picture. It happened on a Monday. Rachel followed the detour as usual, coffee in hand, radio low. The GPS guided her past the diner, past the gas station, and then, unexpectedly, off the road she'd come to recognize. "Turn left," it said. Rachel hesitated. "That's not—" The GPS recalculated. She turned. The road narrowed, trees closing in, until it opened onto a small municipal building that looked like it had been constructed entirely from sensible decisions. Brick, square windows, a flagpole, a sign out front read, "Route Services." Rachel parked. She didn't know why. She only knew she was supposed to. Inside, the building smelled faintly of paper and coffee. A counter stretched across the room, broken into numbered windows. No line, no crowd. A woman in a cardigan looked up. "Rachel?" she said. Rachel stopped. "Have we met?" "Not officially," the woman replied. "You're early." "I'm gonna be late," Rachel said weakly. The woman smiled. "Only if this takes longer than usual." She slid a form across the counter. It wasn't long, just a checklist. Avoided primary route. Followed instructions. Did not interfere. Rachel scanned it. "What is this?" "Maintenance. the woman said. "We don't like to disrupt people who don't need it." Rachel swallowed. Disrupt from what? The woman met her gaze. Outcomes. Rachel signed. The GPS chimed softly on the counter. "All set," the woman said. "You can go." Rachel returned to her car. The GPS displayed her normal route. No detour, no warning. She arrived at work on time. For the next several weeks, Rachel's commute returned to normal. The GPS loaded the highway route without hesitation. No rerouting, no blinking, no confidence about alternatives. She merged, crossed the river, and exited like everyone else. Nothing went wrong, nothing needed correcting. Rachel found this reassuring. She stopped passing the diner. The gas station disappeared from her mornings. The billboard was gone entirely, replaced by a blank stretch of fence that suggested it had never been there to begin with. At work, she mentioned the detour once, casually, as if it had been traffic or construction. "Sounds like a glitch," someone said. Rachel nodded. She had decided not to argue with that explanation. But sometimes, on mornings when she overslept or left the house flustered, the GPS hesitated. Just for a moment. The screen would dim slightly. The map would zoom out farther than necessary, and then without comment, it would continue on the usual route. Rachel noticed these moments the way one notices a hand hovering near a shoulder, not touching, just ready. She adjusted her habits accordingly. The reroute happened again in late autumn. The sky was dark, the air colder than expected. Rachel was halfway to the on-ramp when the GPS chimed. Rerouting. Rachel sighed. All right. She followed the familiar turn without resentment. The road appeared exactly as she remembered it, quiet, intact, unconcerned with the passing of time. The diner lights were on. The gas station attendant nodded as she drove past. The billboard was back. This time it read, "This way. Thank you for your cooperation." Rachel felt a smile come and go. The GPS guided her around the river again, past the stretch of highway that she later learned had been closed for hours due to ice and an overturned truck. She arrived at work early, unremarkable, uninjured, and exactly where she needed to be. That evening, at home, she set the GPS on the kitchen counter instead of leaving it in the car. "Thanks," she said, feeling slightly foolish. The device did not respond. The next morning, the route was normal again. Rachel drove it without thinking, confident now that if the GPS ever decided otherwise, it would be for a reason she didn't need to understand. Some systems, she had learned, weren't meant to be questioned. They were meant to be followed.
If you're listening tonight and wondering whether something in your life has been making decisions on your behalf, I wouldn't rush to uninstall it. Some systems don't ask for trust, they earn it by getting you home. And if you find yourself being rerouted, calmly, confidently, maybe don't fight it. Maybe it knows something you don't need to. This is The Night Signal, WGCK AM 1090, always on, always talking. We'll be back after the break.